Please be seated. Omnes candidati varum ad valore corum consortiorum, in collegio amico liberalium universitatem publicae humanum, ad inversum ideam examen nam admegere. Omnes vitae ad lecte consider.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the faculty, honored guests, and distinguished members of the graduating class. We are now completing the 1990 spring commencement of the College of the Liberal Arts. We shall open with the national anthem. The invitation will then be offered by the Reverend Common Executive. Please rise and remain standing for the national anthem. Let us pray. Eternal Father, by whatever name we call you, be present among us. Keep us mindful that we have but to ask and we receive from you strength to endure. May we then be lifted by our faith rather than be discouraged. Let us know that blend up faithful adherence to our responsibilities so that we may be vital instruments in realizing your purpose for all things. We are grateful for this time. We thank you for your goodnesses to us. Each of us in our own way ponders all your gifts, and we pray that we may be strengthened by them to be faithful stewards of your will. Amen. Please be seated. We are honored to have the Honorable Judge Cook with us today. Please join me in giving him a warm and safe welcome.
Thank you, Dean Nelson, Dean Hart Nelson, and other distinguished platform guests. First, permit me to make some preliminary remarks. To all of the mothers within the sound of my voice, happy Mother's Day. Dean Nelson, you have brought great honor to my family speak to this class of 1990. I am indeed grateful to you for your kindness and graciousness. To the families and friends of our honorees, it was only a few years ago that my wife, my family, and I watched with enormous pride our 3 children receive their degree. Based on these experiences, I know how very proud you are today of your loved ones. And so I salute you, the spouses, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, and the grandparents whose patience, counsel, and personal sacrifice have helped to bring about this day. Congratulations to all of you. And finally, to our honorees, the class of 1990, those dreaded final exams are now over and you've made it. As I stand here today, I find myself reflecting upon my own days here at the university many years ago, many years ago. It was called the Pennsylvania State College at that time. In fact, it was nearly 4 decades ago that my classmates and I sat right here in Rec Hall and heard our commencement speaker, Hanson Baldwin, warn us against the growing influence of Russia throughout the world. He told us that it was imperative for all 3 nations to establish impregnable defense of Western Europe, to rearm Germany and Japan, and develop a policy toward China as well as the remaining parts of Asia. He concluded by saying, we need the world, and the world needs us. The year was 1952, and the date was June 9th. The president of Penn State at that time was Bill Eisenhower. American soldiers were in Korea, a land about which we as students knew very little. Harry Truman was in the White House and Alvin Barkley was his vice president. The Gimbel's department store in New York City was selling cool tropical suits to men for $29.75. The Cleveland Indians and those feisty Brooklyn Dodgers were leading the American and National League in baseball. Bread sold for 16 cents a loaf, and it cost Americans a whopping 28 cents for a single gallon of gas. We had yet to experience the election of a Catholic president, the assassination of a king, Martin Luther King Jr., the horrors of AIDS, and the devastating effects of crack and cocaine upon our society. Words that are commonplace today, such as VCR, acid rain, fast food, floppy disks, microwaves, Super Bowls, and slam dunks, were not yet become a part of our vocabulary.
I got that.
Little did we know that many years later, as this century moved into its 9th decade, the term Red China would so graphically and dramatically describe the brutalization of students in Tiananmen Square. The entire communist bloc would undergo a dramatic governmental reformation in the name of freedom. The Berlin Wall, like Humpty Dumpty, would come tumbling down and serve as a symbolic catalyst to those who seek to reunify a divided nation. And the release of the world's most celebrated prisoner, Nelson Mandela, would emit a signal of hope for racial equality in an otherwise oppressive society. It is against this background that I want to talk to you today about that which we hold to be a vital and precious commodity, freedom. All of us, since the early days of school, were taught about our core freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Well, I suggest to you that there exists today a fifth freedom, which is as essential as any of the other four freedoms: the freedom to fail. Now, all of us have experienced failure at some time. At the very beginning of our lives, we as babies learn to feed ourselves. Sometimes with success, but for the most part, it was an absolute disaster. The food and drink are wound up on our faces, between our toes, in our hair, and on the floor. Everywhere except in our mouth. We later mastered the art of walking, by first toddling, stumbling, falling, and finally getting back up and starting the whole process once again. These early childhood experiences, perhaps most dramatically, illustrate and dramatize my basic theme: that success can and most certainly will come to those who, despite failures, steadfastly refuse to accept defeat as a way of life. Someone once wrote, "There is no failure except in no longer trying." The line between failure and success is so fine that we scarcely know when to pass it. So fine that we're often on the line and do not know it. Now please understand, failure is something that all of us can avoid. Failure can be avoided if we say absolutely nothing and do absolutely nothing. Only those persons who are willing to assume the responsibility of setting some meaningful goal and to make a reasonable effort to achieve it run the risk of failure. We, of course, live in an imperfect world. Injustices and gross inequities are in plentiful supply. Unfortunately, there are occasions within our judicial system where the innocent are found guilty and the guilty are found innocent. Bigotry in all forms continues to rear its ugly head in Watts, in Detroit, and yes, in State College, Pennsylvania. Still, there are too many of us who have never made, and sadly will never make, any serious commitment or make any meaningful effort to remove these maladies from the communities in which we live. How many of you know of friends or classmates who took those so-called easy courses or never enrolled in any class which presented a serious challenge, afraid that they would not succeed or fearful that it would affect their GPA? Too many, far too many people have been frozen into this form of inaction by the fear of failure. Failure is a wonderful teacher, probably is the very best one that you'll ever have. We all learn by attempting to do something, failing on some level, and trying again. Failure can be a valued asset if we learn from it. Nevertheless, failure need not be equated with or be defeat. Real failure is not the falling down, but the staying down. Those of you who always take the safest course, who live life at the very lowest level, can be classified with justification as failures. The same applies to those of you who accept a failure as a rejection or defeat, with a sense of resignation or hopelessness. This attitude reminds me of a verse from Scripture, which spoke of a tired old man who, after many years of being beaten physically, emotionally, and spiritually, no longer had the drive to fight the injustices that slavery had placed upon him. He sang, "Been down so long that being down don't bother me." Failure need not be final unless you declare it so. If you allow yourself to be so afraid of experimentation, of challenge, and of the possibility of failure, you then will be a failure in life. Now, let me tell you about three men, all of whom walked with failure hand in hand, but refused, absolutely refused, to accept it as a way of life. Soon after my graduation from law school in 1957, I traveled to Michigan, where I was to begin my courtship with a well-known judge. While there, I met a young man who wanted to be a lawyer. We had some things in common. Both of us had just finished law school. Both of us had just taken the bar exam, and both of us were waiting for the results. Unfortunately for him, he did not pass. And so he tried a second time. Again, the same result. And then there was a third and fourth time. Each time without success. But he was a fighter. He refused to give up. He had a goal of becoming a lawyer, not just an ordinary lawyer, but an outstanding one. And so on his 8th attempt, he made it. He made it. Today, that young man whom I met many years ago reached that goal. He became a brilliant trial lawyer whose advice, counsel, and skills were widely sought after by the young and the old throughout the state. He soon became a lawyer's warrior, and today he is a state court judge, a position that he's held for the past 15 years. Undaunted, resolute, determined, you bet he was. And then there's a story about a man from the hill district of Penn. He loved the way, and gosh, was he talented. But mostly everyone to whom he sent his writings didn't agree. The arrival of rejection slips at his household became a common event. Yet this gifted writer would not accept no as an answer. He believed in himself. The word failure was not in his vocabulary. He persisted, and today, August Wilson, the author of 3 Broadway hits, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Fences, and A Piano Lesson, stands at the top of his craft, having received a Pulitzer Prize, a Tony, and 3 New York Drama Critics. And finally, let me tell you about a man whose middle name was Failure, with a capital F. And he knew what it meant to be at the very bottom of the barrel. There was every reason to believe that he was destined to become a total failure in life, an absolute drag on society, and a permanent resident in some federal or state penitentiary. He had convictions for manslaughter and for an assault on a corrections officer, which placed him behind bars for over a decade. Yet something happened while he was in prison. Perhaps it was the Shakespeare that he discovered and read incessantly during his many idle moments. On the other hand, maybe not. But whatever the reason, whatever the cause, he left prison with a new mission in life and a commitment that he would never, ever allow his failures of the past to deny him the successes of the future. With a GED and a college degree in hand, he applied to and gained acceptance into the famed Yale Repertory Theater, where he enjoyed enormous success. And what is he doing today? Well, he is the star and the leading man of that sensational Broadway hit, Piano Lesson. His name is Charles Dutton. Getting knocked down was once an everyday occurrence for him, but staying down was never his best. You, the class of 1990, represent the emerging generation. You owe something to yourselves and to society. You must not only assume the responsibility for your own well-being, but for those who are less fortunate. When you leave this sheltered enclave of Happy Valley, I urge you to participate in life with vigor and enthusiasm. Take the risk of failing. Explore new worlds. Be someone special. It is only when you determine that you have no fear of failure, that you are willing to risk failure, and that you are unafraid to be different, will the spirit of our Bill of Rights be shown. There are too many persons in this nation of ours who are poor, starving, lonely, homeless, and without hope, victims of racial, religious, ethnic, economic, and gender intolerance. In this great nation of ours, there are some grim statistics which challenge our very existence. One child out of every 4 is born into poverty. 2 out of every 5 minority children are poor. Nearly 1 million youngsters are high school dropouts. Almost 23 million Americans are functionally illiterate, unable to write their names or even understand a short, plain, uncomplicated sentence. And so there's much to do. The challenges are there. The rest is up to you. Now, as I come to a close, let me quote from Dr. Benjamin Mays, the brilliant late president of Morehouse College in Atlanta. He once said, "It isn't a challenge to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disaster to be unable to capture your ideal, but it is a disaster to have no ideal to capture. It is not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have those stars to reach them. The tragedy lies in having no goal." Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Judge. Now I would like to recognize a very special group here assembled, the faculty of the College of the Liberal Arts, both at University Park and the Commonwealth campuses. They have been advisors and teachers to all of you graduating today. Their expertise and scholarship, their energy and dedication have inspired you to rise to ever greater accomplishments in your personal and academic growth. They are the part of Penn State that has touched your lives in the most significant way, allowing you to confidently face future challenges. May I ask the faculty of the College of Liberal Arts to please rise. To you, the faculty, I extend my sincerest thanks and appreciation for your dedication and commitment to the education of our young people. Your scholarship and excellence in teaching are widely recognized both nationally and internationally. Our students are indeed fortunate to have had the benefit of your intellectual mentorship. You have given them a solid foundation upon which they will continue to build throughout their lives. Our thanks very much. You may now be seated. As the largest multi-campus university in the country, Penn State offers the first 2 years of baccalaureate degree program at each of the 17 Commonwealth campus locations. The Commonwealth educational system symbolizes the diversity and yet unification of this great university as it serves the people of our Commonwealth. Would you now join me in acknowledging the significant role that each Commonwealth campus and its faculty has played in your education. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Representing the entire class of 1990 for the College of the Liberal Arts is the College Student Marshal, Rachel A. Seidensticker, accompanied by the College Faculty Marshal of her choice, Professor Karen L. Bierman of the Department of Psychology. Professor Bierman.
Great pleasure to have the opportunity to present Rachel Seidensticker to you as the 1990 Marshal for the College of Liberal Arts. Rachel embodies the values in education that we strive for at Penn State. The acquisition of knowledge has been a priority in her life. I'm sure her professors would all vouch for the diligence and thoroughness with which she has approached her classwork, and the energy with which she has pursued a broad range of studies during her years here. That she has maintained a cumulative grade point average of 4.0. And has also completed the coursework and thesis necessary to graduate with honors, certainly speaks to her academic devotion. Yet as one gets to know Rachel, it becomes clear that for her, this fine academic record is not an end in and of itself, but merely a tool that she is using to better understand and improve on the world around her. Throughout her years at Penn State, Rachel has been interested in big issues, especially those involving the social policies that affect child development and education. She has pursued a variety of work experiences, among them teaching at a preschool and working at a summer remedial program for disadvantaged youngsters. She has brought insights and problems from her life experiences to enrich her classwork, and has taken information absorbed in the classroom and applied it to real-life problems and issues. Next year, Rachel will enter a graduate program in public policy and will move forward toward her goal of making a difference in our shared future. With appreciation for her multiple talents, her dedication, and her vibrant and expansive approach to education, I give you Rachel Seidensticker.
Dean Brager, Dean Nelson, Vice Provost Knight, honored guests, fellow graduates, parents, and friends. Following spring semester last year, I visited Arkansas, the place I knew as home during my early adolescent years. After a long flight with layovers in Pittsburgh and Chicago, I finally arrived and was met at the airport by one of my friends. As I was waiting for her to bring her car from the parking area, I noticed a man moving toward me. Pulling my bags closer to me, I quickly and unconsciously, almost instinctively, backed off. The man was taken aback by my curt no when he asked if he could help with my bags. In his expression of surprise, I realized my mistake. Having spent part of this tiring day in the crowded, impersonal atmosphere of two large northern airports, I had forgotten about Southern hospitality. My reaction to a strange man approaching me at an airport was one of apprehension and distrust, even though I had lived for several years in a culture in which the gesture was considered entirely appropriate. Throughout my years at Penn State, my perspectives had developed and changed in many ways that go well beyond the sort of outer differences in regional customs that my story illustrates. At this institution, there are many differences in our backgrounds. Differences between those from small towns and large communities, between those from the suburbs and the inner cities, between those whose parents attended college and those who are first generation. This diversity of background expands the possibilities for understanding the larger culture of which we are all a part. It provides numerous opportunities for contact with a variety of people and the cultivation of new views about various aspects of life. Often, such experience branches out and leads to the discovery of domains of human knowledge and activity that we never even knew existed. Sometimes, those resulting changes in perspective from exposure to diversity have been important in the classroom. When I consider my formal education at Penn State, one course stands out in my mind. In psychology, as those graduating in the major can attest, one of the most dreaded classes is 401, Advanced Research Methods in Psychology. Because the course is required, the students enrolled typically represent a broad spectrum of ability and experience. Despite these differences, the instructor for this particular course established high standards, provided constant support, and expressed confidence in every student's ability. At first, only the eager students in the front rows offered any contributions. However, in the classroom climate that our professor fostered and the culture to which it gave rise, all students, even those who fit a stereotype of indifference, increasingly began to present ideas about designing experiments and to volunteer explanations for the results of the studies which we had been talking about. By the end of the course, when we made presentations of our research proposals, each was a quality product. While some teachers direct attention only to those students who show enthusiasm initially, through an appreciation of the differences in abilities, backgrounds, and perspectives, this professor succeeded in stimulating every student to an ever-increasing level of aspiration. As a result, the course proved to be an enjoyable and meaningful learning experience for all concerned. By concentrating in the liberal arts, we made a choice to explore the broad set of traditions, achievements, modes of thought, and human experiences from which our culture has sprung. Unfortunately, however, the diversity of that culture is not adequately represented in all we have learned, nor is it fully appreciated in all relationships we have developed. Especially does this appear to be true in the areas of gender, race, and ethnicity. Issues of diversity at Penn State have been the object of considerable discussion. Some attempts to address deficiencies have been made, but many of the underlying concerns have not as yet been resolved, and may not be for a long time. We are leaving before the implementation of the new cultural diversity requirement, but at least I trust more fully aware of the issues and less complacent about the need to achieve greater progress. When an African-American friend of mine and I watched television together, her comments let me glimpse how the world appears through her eyes. It is at such times that I become aware of just how non-reflective of our culture the programming and advertisements typically are. However, today, if you examine advertisements very closely, many appear to be changing and are beginning to include people of different origin and background. One example is Benetton. The title, United Colors of Benetton, shows sensitivity to diversity. By and large, however, the inroads have been few and far between, and examples of this kind remain the exception rather than the rule. Let's think about the perspectives we've developed during our years at Penn State and the differences among the people to whom we have been exposed. Have we been adversely affected by that exposure? I would hope that our answer is no, and that in fact, we now feel better equipped to deal with others on a variety of levels. I further hope that we also would respond that we have a better understanding of differences and have come to respect them. My political science instructor was fond of saying, we all carry around our own psychological baggage, which refers to the bits and pieces from our past that shape how we live in the present and how we envision the future. My language is different from, not better or worse than others. To be sure, individuals differ, and to ignore these differences can be as damaging as exaggerating them. What is important is that we be aware of differences and understand what they imply, not only for how we view the world, but for the relationships we develop and for our social well-being. Penn State has taken small but nonetheless important steps to deal with some of the problems created by the lack of appreciation for cultural diversity, as have some other social institutions. However, we cannot rely on institutions alone. This spring, instead of going to Arkansas, I'm traveling to Chicago to begin graduate study. While there, I hope to develop a greater sensitivity to the very people I'm likely to encounter. This, too, is a small step, but human progress is often measured in small steps, as my experience in Psychology 401 well illustrates. If enough of us are determined to do what we individually can, and to make this sort of commitment, we can move this society toward acceptance of others' differences and toward becoming significantly more conscious of the value that their diversity can have in the enrichment of all of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I know that your family feels as proud as we do of your outstanding academic accomplishments. Our congratulations. At this time, I would like to present Vice Provost and Dean for Undergraduate Education, C. Gregory Knight. Vice Provost Knight.
Administration of Justice, please rise. Please rise. Candidates in anthropology, please rise. Candidates in the Bachelor of Philosophy degree program, please rise. Rise. Will candidates in classics please rise? Will candidates in East Asian Studies please rise? Will candidates in economics please rise? Letters, arts, and sciences, please rise. Geography, please rise. Will the candidates in philosophy please rise? Will the candidates in political science psychology. Will the candidates in public service please rise? Will the candidates in Russian please rise? Will the candidates in social work please rise? Sociology, please rise. Will the candidates in Spanish, please rise. And will the candidates in speech communication
sure that Dean Bragger and I have never had such an enthusiastic round of applause. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer on each of you degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science, Associate of Arts, and the College of Liberal Arts, as well as the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Philosophy program of the university, of all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. And I extend to each of you the congratulations to the university.
Ladies and gentlemen, these candidates have been identified by their respective departments as the outstanding graduates of their programs. They have been selected on the basis of their significant academic achievements and their full participation in the department, the college, and the university. The department student marshals have selected department faculty marshals who escort them on stage today.
Penn State graduates, I congratulate you. I now call upon Vice Provost Knight, who will recognize the university scholar.
Will those students who are in the University Scholars Program please rise? All these people are saying that's always to know that they're blue ribbon and the University Scholars Medal award commencement ceremony. Their parents and friends attended to us on Friday evening. All of you have accepted the challenge of honors studying your majors, and outside the classroom you sought to deepen, to enrich, and broaden your education. Many of you completed research and creative projects, have written honors theses, or have undergone comprehensive examinations in your majors, and thus are receiving honors degrees. We congratulate you on your special achievements, and thank you for having invested your time and enriching your lives in all this. Ladies and gentlemen, we regard outstanding scholarship as a meritorious achievement deserving of high public recognition. Your attention is invited to a list of members of the class shown on pages 7 to 10 of the University's commencement program who are graduating with scholastic distinction. That is, those who have completed the required number of credits at the university and who are at the top of their graduating class at the end of the fall semester. Others may be added to the official program as a result of their spring semester's work. Please hold your applause of all of them called upon. For those who are graduating with highest distinction, those in the top 2% of the class, please rise and remain standing. For those who are graduating with high distinction, that is the top 6% of the class, please rise and join me. And for those graduating with distinction, that is the top 12% of the class, rise and join your colleagues in the on your academic achievements. We appreciate the opportunity to have you study with us, and we wish you well in the future of the United States. Please see you.
Thank you, Vice Provost Manning. As a land-grant university, we also provide the opportunity for training in military service. At Penn State, we have programs in the Air Force, Army, Navy, and the Marine Corps. I now call on Captain Penn.
Will all those who are commissioned Friday evening please rise? Candidates who were commissioned as officers of the Armed Forces of the United States. A commission has been presented to each of you as recommended by the appropriate officers of your respective ROTC units. On behalf of the Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States, I congratulate each one of you as you enter into the service of our nation. And you see it.
With the conferral of degrees today, each of you now becomes an alumna or alumnus of Pennsylvania State University. I call upon Ronnie McCormick, representative of the Penn State Alumni Association. Mrs. McCormick.
Let me express my congratulations to all of you, the graduates, your families, and your friends. On behalf of the Alumni Association, it gives me great pleasure to induct you into the Penn State Alumni Association. As members, you join more than 350,000 graduates who are part of the Penn State family. You will be granted all the rights and privileges of membership during a complimentary year. We hope you will continue to remain actively involved with Penn State, which has played such a vital role in your preparation for life. We hope you will continue to be proud of Penn State throughout your lifetime. My sincere best wishes
of each one of you today. Thank you very much. The emphasis thus far has been on the members of the class of 1990 assembled here today. Now I'm going to ask the family members and friends of these graduates to stand and remain standing so that I can say a word directly to you. Please stand. Family members, hold your applause, please. You deserve medals of honor for sacrifice, for tolerance, for endurance, for upholding, for caring. We admire your sense of priority, your sense of commitment, and perhaps above all else, your sense of humor. You were silent at times and vocal on occasion, but most importantly, you were there when you were needed. On behalf of the entire college and university, we ask you to accept our sincere thanks and gratitude. Now, I would like to ask the class of 1990 to rise, to face the audience, to look at your parents, your husbands, your wives, and your special mothers. And now a word concerning the distribution of diplomas. I would like to request that everyone, graduates and audience, please remain at your seat until everyone in the recessional has gone down the aisle. College marshals will tell graduates when to proceed to the South Gym to receive their diplomas. Remember, since the faculty who are participating in the recessional will be distributing your diplomas, they must reach the South Gym before you do. After you have received your diploma, please exit the South Gym and meet your families and friends outside and join us at the reception. The audience is now asked to join in the singing of the alma mater. The words appear on page 2 in the university program. Will you please stand and remain standing for the alma mater and the benediction?
Bless us as we prepare for challenges ahead. Make us adequate and worthy of our responsibilities. May we experience harmony and justice. May there be prosperity and peace. We ask this mindful of your goodness. Amen.
Please remain standing. The processional will now begin.
I don't know where to look at. Wait, where are we looking at? Alright, he's got it.
Do a little soft shoe, Mom.
Wait, where are we looking now?
Soft shoe, we are where the grass.
Alright, over.
Michael, it's upside down. No, it's not.
Oh, take one on our camera, Bill.
Well,
With Mary Jean and Michael. Jerry? Want to get Jerry?
Hey, smile big second. You graduate. Now wait, one more. Let's get one with a salute after this. All right?
Wait a second.
Build it.
How cute.
on, want a picture of me and you and Michael? Is Tom gonna get in there? Yeah. It's on. Do your salute.
Oh,
Run hard.
it's on.
Hard.